Okay, good afternoon. What's today's topic? Well, I had a question on the forum. Can you make a bed frame rail for like a bedroom that's got, some decent storage to it and stuff like that? And I said, yeah, in response. And I did a quick web search on pictures and whatever, and you sort through tons of complicated things that people have done. I tried to come up with ideas and things where the projects are not that complicated, where we can tear them apart, discuss them, and show you how easy some of this stuff actually is to build. So I'm going to throw up a picture here in just a couple of minutes, and we're going to do just that. We're going to tear apart a design idea that I saw that somebody did. I thought it was a really good functional idea for a bed frame. So we're going to take a serious look at it. This is a wild picture. This is a guy, some people do welding on skyscrapers. It's not my cup of tea. I was looking at the picture and was like, holy crap, not me. Anyway, I thought it was a fun one to throw up for the intro. Anyway, we'll move on now and we will take a look at the bed frame and have a discussion, and we'll do questions and answers at the same time. I'm going to try to incorporate them in, and if they don't fit, I'll do them at the end of the video, but here we go. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Let's look at what he did. He went out and he bought some rectangular steel, one of the basic materials we always talk about on a lot of my videos, and he created this bed frame. He measured the length, he measured the width, and he figured out how that bed was going to sit right on top of this frame when he was done. Now there is a top portion to this. I'll show you that in a video, or I'll show you that in a picture in a few minutes. Use a square. Make sure everything is square. Make sure everything is level. If you've got a nice concrete flat flooring in your garage, that'll create that base where you can set these pieces on there. Use a tape measure. Go ahead and mark out everything and tack weld it. I keep saying that, but people sometimes ignore it. But tack weld it. If you've got to knock it apart, you can real easily. Now, he turns around and he squares up the verticals. Then he goes ahead and he welds on the length, the width, and what have you to the top portion. And he's got in the middle, he's got some verticals that go up and down. If you take a real hard look, you can see them. And he put a plywood divider. If you take a look in the middle, you can see where he cut it out with a jigsaw. He put it in there, and he created these little L pieces of metal tabbing. You can get, again, I keep repeating it, it's about 1/8 inch thickness cold rolled steel. Comes 1 inch wide. You can cut small tabs and bend them at a 90. You don't need heat or anything. You can go ahead and weld these in, and he put that piece of plywood in the middle there. It created that divider. Then look forward of that, and he did it again. And he welded it on those tabs on, and he secured the plywood. Now that area in between now you can see here on the far left, he actually used railing. You can buy this railing out at Home Depot, Lowe's, everywhere else. Attached it to the plywood, and he made plywood and pine kind of drawers. Now, this is going to take some time, okay? You can do it. It's not that hard to do. Just take your time, and you'll have this massive storage area right there on your bed because, your comforter, your sheets, and all this stuff drape over it. And it becomes excellent for storing stuff rather than just like that dead open space under your bed where after years shit collects anyway. But this way you've got these drawers, or you can configure this however you want. I thought this was a very clever idea. It's the one that I ended up giving to a friend of mine, and I stopped by. We take a look at it. He's not in a huge rush. He's done the frame so far on it. Right now he's putting in all those little metal L tabs for the plywood dividers that you see there. And you could get the plywood anywhere out at any of the supply stores. Use a skill saw and a straight edge. You're not going to have a problem creating those pieces that go in there. Now the part that's going to take you a little bit longer, of course, are the drawers. You want the face of them to look nice, because if they ever do show or what have you, it matters. You don't want them to look all trashy. But he used, just like the guy did here in the picture, he used pine board, easily available out at the supply stores. What you want to do when it comes to the pine is take your time and select it. A lot of the stuff at Home Depot in these places is warped, twisted, cracked, God knows what else, all right? So take them down, set them on the edge, look down it, get yourself some nice pieces, because these are what's going to create your drawer fronts. You can create the box itself just out of the plywood like he did here, and then face it off with the pine. That's a good idea. You can make different parts of it all out of pine if you wanted to. You can see here where he did the sides and the backing. These are all pine, all same width. Probably cut them out of the same board, and then he glued them together, and then he glued another piece across the face of it, and he has plywood bottoms. If you take your time, you can do this. Now, I lent him my hot glue gun. It's called a super bonder. I did a video you can search, and mine's 100 watt. And we use that to tack things together, and then in certain places, he flat out glued it. In other places, we used screws. You can get away with drywall screws. You can use short steel screws. They don't cost that much more. They're actually better. They won't snap like a drywall screw, but I'm not going to tell you not to use drywall screws. Yes, you can. We ran out of them, and we did use some on his. That's how you can build them, and the railings are available. Let's take a look at this last picture. I didn't want the video to be long. I just wanted to give you a quick tip. Hang on. Okay, let's take a look at this video. Let's take a look at picture. I'm sorry, I said video. But in this picture, he put this plywood topping on there. A couple pieces of plywood, faced this whole thing off. This thing is probably incredibly secure on top. Puts his box spring, puts his mattress on there. He's got these nice drawers now that he can pull out and slide in. Plenty of storage space, sheets, comforters, blankets. Like I said, it's usually dead area under the bed. Anyway, this creates a fantastic place for storage. Now, I had a comment where somebody goes, I don't want to use those kind of railings. There has to be other ways. There are. Do a web search, take a look around. You don't have to use it this way. It was my suggestion because once you use these railings, they're nice and smooth how they glide in and out. And once you do one or two of them, you're kind of behind that learning curve, and you're able to do these much smoother and easier. You can anticipate the first time you use these railings, putting them on there and lining them up and getting them to where it works well and it slides in and out fine. It's going to take you a little bit of tweaking and a little bit of time, but don't get discouraged. This is part of the learning process. It's part of the fabricating process. You're always going to make errors, and these people on these videos will go, I don't make any errors. Well, you're full of crap, okay? You do. You're just not showing them. So one of the errors we made when we did this, we didn't have them quite aligned right, and they weren't sliding in and out. And all it was a matter of is just undoing the screws, repositioning things, holding them in place, resetting the screws, and pretty soon we had them gliding in and out beautifully. So we did the first one together. I couldn't stay. I'm sure that on the second, third, all the way up to the fifth and the sixth, he will be behind the learning curve. He will be able to go a little bit faster on putting the drawer glides in. If you don't want them in, you want to go a different route, drop me a comment. Let me know how you do it. I just happen to think it's just a smoother, nicer way of, the drawers going in and out. I suppose you could make them out of wood, but it wasn't our choice. Now, on the face of these, if you sand these, we sanded his up to, I think, 220. And he's going to apply a stain, and he's going to apply some kind of a clear gloss finish over them. Although they're probably not going to show because of the comforter and all this stuff hangs down over it. He still wanted to put a nice darker finish on there with some kind of like a gloss finish on top. So my suggestion to him was sand to 220, use a random orbital sander. He started off at around 100 grit. You didn't have to start off less than that. He started off at 100. He went to 150, then to 220 using a random orbital sander. That's the way he did it. I think it's looking pretty good so far. I don't have a picture of the total finished project, but this picture right here is basically the same way that we did his. I'm the home handyman. This was a quick video. It gives you something to think about. If you have questions, drop them in the comment. I will make every effort to answer them. I hope you folks click subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.